What's up, guys? Welcome to another Summoners War Chronicles video. In this video, I'm basically gonna show you guys, like, basically gonna do a rundown of how to beat Naraka, aka Boiling Waterfall, aka Zyros, because he literally looks like Zyros. But yeah, so I'm gonna go through everything you pretty much need to do this raid, what you want to bring into this raid to complete it, the power levels, everything, and we're gonna go through that right now. But if you guys like the video, make sure to like the video and also subscribe for more Summoners War Chronicles videos. And let's get into everything you need to defeat Mini Zyros. Alright, so the first thing you're gonna need when doing this raid is you're gonna need to stop everything you're doing and get you Kermit. You guys are 1000% going to need Kermit. Kermit is non-negotiable. In case you have, like, if you don't have like a Lupinus or I think it's also like Water, Martial Cat, or Dark Cowgirl, but the free-to-play option is literally Kermit the Frog. So make sure no matter what you do, you guys not done the side story for it. We do get them for free. If you guys didn't know, go to your monster story. He's all the way to the right. There you go. You get everything that you need for Kermit the Frog. So all you gotta do is do that first. If you want to know which runes to use on them, I have mines on Rage Blade. It'll be Rage Blade, attack, crit damage. Speed, attack, speed, crit damage, and attack. You ideally want to get a bit better stats than this. Mine's was kind of just half built because we were just kind of throwing them together to knock the raid down. But it works better if everybody has a Kermit build. The only reason you may not build or may not use more than like 2 Kermits, let's say a person has like a 100,000 power Kermit, then you may want to use that instead. And you may want to like bring in, instead of another Kermit, probably bring in like a Helia for the brand, a Depth Break, because that is 1000% needed. But for the most part, it kind of works if everybody has one on their team. You can kind of get away with that. I think that's a very good, solid addition to the team. 1000%. Again, stop everything. If you haven't done it, do it right now. Get your Kermit the Frog. Other than that, for the most part, you can bring in like some of the same old that you've been bringing to like pretty much all the other raids. Like, make sure you guys have a best stat, because best stat is great. It's turning out the best. That seems like one of the best monsters of this game. If like probably like the best PvE monster, if you ask me. Best stat's pretty good. I bring a Celia. And the reason why I bring a Celia is because we need consistent Depth Break, and so having a Celia with also the Fire Orbia is really, really good, because, you know, it allows you to, again, output a lot of damage. So one team should, okay, all 3 teams in my opinion, unless you get like, again, more power, should have Kermit the Frog. Then you maybe have one that has 2 that have Konamiya, or 1 that has Konamiya, probably 2 that have Konamiya. But you want to have a good mixture of pretty much like Kermit's, Depth Break, Cleanse, healing, attack buff. Like, that's pretty much all needed, because you need all of that for this raid. It is very, very important. Also, let's put it like this. I'll just go through every phase. So basically, when you go into the raid, the first stage is pretty much just, you know, DPS in the boss and just trying to get him down to a certain threshold. He will then do an AoE attack, which you kind of want to avoid. The reason why you want to avoid this, because this AoE attack hits you with a heal block. So if you get hit by it, you get heal block applied. The heal block sucks. You don't want that on you. The reason why is because after that, he's then going to put his invincible armor around him that basically, what happens is he'll start doing AoE damage around him, and that applies a burn to you. Now, the only way you can get rid of this burn is if you heal to full. So if you're healing, that's cool, but unless you heal to full, the heal block will stay. So that's why you might want to have like 1 or 2 Kodamiyas, or you can have like 1 Kodamiya, 1 Lulu. I do think people should have a Kodamiya and a Tion, or and a Lulu, mainly because of the skill acceleration. The skill acceleration is really, really good and really needed, because you're pretty much going to stay clumped with your other 2 raid buddies throughout the whole entire raid. So I would say, if anything, make sure you bring either 2 Kodamiyas or 1 Kodamiya and a Lulu, or maybe 2 Lulus. But either way, make sure you're bringing enough healing, because you want to make sure you're healing to full. Lulu's pretty good because Lulu has a lot of healing, but Kona is also really, really good if you've been building into your Kona. Like when I get into the raid, I usually have these 3 set up, because it kind of provides me everything, and somebody else usually has the attack buff, which helps me to maintain my damage. If you do enough damage, you will be able to knock off the invincibility, and he'll fall down, and you'll be able to get like a free 5 to 10 seconds. I think it's like 5 seconds like DPS. The reason why you want Kermit is because his S1 and also his S2 have a chance to ignore damage reduction effects. So invincibility and also defense buff, but he doesn't really do defense buff. It's just the invincibility. So Kermit can basically do, for the most part, max damage without having to worry about his damage falling off. Because when he gets that invincibility, you have to do enough damage, and once you do enough damage, the invincibility falls off and he falls to the ground. I'll have a video after this, like basically showing a run where we completed it, so you can kind of see like what everything looks like. Because I know some people are pretty much like they gotta look at it go, or maybe go in themselves and kind of learn that way. But you really want to make sure that you have good runes of your Kermit, so that way you can knock them down. That's why I suggest at least that all teams should have 3, because all teams having 3 kind of makes it a lot easier for the whole entire party. So I would do that. After you knock out the invincibility and he falls down, you get that DPS phase. What then happens is he shoots into the sky, and then fire spirits will spawn in the middle, and they will go towards 3 platforms on all that are on the pretty much on the outsides of the map. Pretty much like 1 team will go to each, and then basically they'll defend that spire. What will make it easier to defend that Spire is Spire. See, that's a spider. What will make it easier to defend that Spire is if basically everybody has a CC unit, because what happens is the fire spirits that come out have a very, very, very thick shield, and if you want to knock off that shield immediately, you need to bring a CC unit, and that's why I have Tractor. Tractor is really good. Start building a Tractor. He's solid for this. Tractor on his S2 is a provoke, which breaks the shield, and also on his S3 he has a stun, which also breaks the shield. So Tractor can help you break the shields, and then you just finish them off. Once you break the shields, they're actually pretty squishy. You don't have to worry about them being super tanky. But I would say Tractor is really good, because he'll just do the provoke, or he'll do the stun, and he'll break him off, and then you just defeat the spirits, so you'll be fine. After all 3 teams have defeated all the spirits, and then your spires are still up, you stand in your spire, which makes you invincible, by the way, and then he'll do like an AoE attack, and then as long as you're in the spire, you're invincible, so it doesn't matter. So he'll do his AoE attack, you'll survive it, then you'll go back to doing DPS phase. I will say what a little annoying thing about this raid is sometimes like the fires that are on the ground, you want to avoid that at all times, because that applies the burn debuff where you have to heal in order to get rid of it. So avoid the fire puddles. The fire puddle placement sometimes RNG wise is pretty annoying, I will say that, but as long as your team can kind of communicate a place, like a safe place to stand, you should be ideally okay. But that's pretty much like the basis of the raid. It's pretty much just do DPS to boss, he gets invincibility, you have to do enough damage to knock invincibility off, you do more DPS, and then once you do the Spire phase once, you never do it again. You just want to make sure that after that, you're still doing enough DPS to knock off that invincibility, because if you don't knock it off in time, he does a big roar, and then he does a whole bunch of AoE attacks, and then it's gonna get too overwhelming, you may die from that. Also, you don't want to die, because if enough people die, it fills its ulti gauge, which causes a board-wide wipe. Like, you can't avoid it, it'll wipe you no matter what. So you want to not lose any units throughout this whole entire raid period. So that's one thing to be kind of aware of. You want to make sure that you're healing enough, you're doing enough damage. It's all pretty important. If you guys want to know, the minimum power level for this raid is 350. So I would suggest, if anything, make sure that your core monsters are 350. Like if you're going in, make sure your core is 350. I just learned this today. If you go inside the raid, and let's say I would have dropped Best F for Kona, which would drop me to slightly hard. If I went into the raid with the bonus, I keep the bonus. I didn't know that till today. Well, now you guys know too. So like I said, just make sure that your core team going in is 350 and above, and then make sure that you have enough damage on your Kermit the Frog. That is really, really important, because he's a pretty key monster for the raid. He's really, really good. I started double modding him. I think he's awakened 9 right now, and I'm gonna try to summon as many as I can on the banner, because I knew he was gonna be pretty good, because when you look at some of the Korean tier lists, he's like everywhere. So I started summoning into the Fire Raven because I want to build him up as high as possible, because he's actually pretty good. So that's pretty much a basis of the raid. It's not exactly a hard raid, but the raids seem like they're becoming a little bit more DPS checks. Like this one's like White Castle's pretty much a DPS check when he drops his arm into the ground, and then Boiling Waterfall is pretty much like you want to make sure that you have enough DPS to knock off that invincibility, and once you knock off that invincibility, it's pretty much like you're free to go. Everybody will get to a point where they'll have like pretty strong Fire Ravens, and you'll just be able to nuke this boss out pretty easily. But for the most part, like I said, get your Fire Raven, build them up as good as possible, put some good runes on them. I'll show you guys my runes one more time if you want to see like a good basis. Like I think this is pretty good. It's not bad at all. And then you go from there. But overall, like I said, it's not a terribly hard raid, but it is a raid where you want to make sure that you are at the appropriate level to knock this out. So you know, make sure you get into the point where you can get pretty strong. Like I said, build him now. He's really, really good. He's pretty much the reason why most people will be doing this raid at the most part. If you, like I said, you also have like Dark Cowgirl, or Water Martial Cat, and also there's one more I'm missing. Oh, Lupinus. If you have Lupinus is also really, really good. So those are your 4 options that you can use to basically DPS the boss during that invincibility phase. But without further ado, I'm just gonna show you guys the run. If you guys like the video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will check you guys in the next video. Peace. Now this will be one of those things where it's like we have to be like a Helia or some shit. Yo, hostile Josh. Thanks for the follow. I mean, that works. We could yeah, try it out with a Helia, because it's the brand. The brand obviously helps out. I'm doing good, man. How are you, man? Just chilling. Try not to lose our mind doing this shit. But I think for the most part we're fine. Yeah, I think with Helia we should be okay. Oh, actually, we should sit on this side. Somebody's Kona's about to die. Is it my Kona? It's my Kona. What the fuck? Fuck. I said my Kona's about to die. Fucking hell, bro. Goddamn Kona. Hey, how's that, Jess? I appreciate it, man. I don't know why my Kona was like that. It was dying though. Probably have to reset this one again. I don't know where my Kona placement is actually pretty weird. So I'm pretty sure I'm dead. I lose myself. There's that. No Tion? Haven't summoned a Tion. Well, that's awkward. We got it in time. Yeah, we got this one. Woo! It's not as bad, but it's still kind of like. It's still a little bit scuffed, but okay. Yeah, we got it down. Ooh. Why though? Why though?